embarrassed, if not frightened, but what appeared to be the return of the biblical giant called Goliath. Are we having a return of Goliath to our midst, who threatens the extinction of other countries? And may I say to the United States President, Mr. Trump, please blow your trumpet. Blow your trumpet in a musical way towards the values of unity, peace, cooperation, togetherness, dialogue, which we have always stood for and which are well written in our very sacred document, the Charter of the United Nations. Upon those values, each nation can build its greatness, including the United States. And it's the greatness in recognizing those values, unity, peace, cooperation, dialogue, togetherness, that we would want to be guided by the United States and not by the promise of our damnation. Damnation we shall always resist, no matter whence it comes. We have resisted it when it was in the form of imperialism, as we fought for our own independence, our own culture, our own sovereignty to be masters of our own destiny. That's why we call ourselves free today. It is because the monster of imperialism was defeated by us. Bring us another monster, by whatever name, he will suffer the same consequences. My country is an unflinching advocate for the respect of the sovereignty and independence of countries. We therefore strongly defend and respect the right of each country to take decisions in exercising its sovereign rights. We cannot, however, remain silent when those decisions impact or have the potential to negatively affect our own welfare.
Yes, how many of us will remember that great leader of Africa from Zimbabwe, the late Robert Gabriel Mugabe? And of course, Mugabe is famous for his powerful speeches, for his fearless and confrontation against imperialism. That speech was provided by Mugabe 10 years ago at the UN General Assembly, telling Donald Trump without fear that maybe you are a biblical Goliath. Today, with African leaders that we have, can we have such kind of leader who can stood up and resist? Except I see Julius Malema, and of course Malema is not a president of any African country. But for African presidents, maybe Traore, and the Chian and the Goita can stood up and speak like that. But the current presidents that we have in the continent, can they even reach a half of the confidence that Mugabe has? Because right now, African leaders, they think because of democracy, because of human rights, they're safe. Goliath is here. And to prove that Goliath is here, brothers and sisters, look what is happening in Venezuela. What happened in Nigeria? Nigeria was bombed last month. Look what threats Iran has getting. Right now, Iran is under pressure because US has said at any time T will hide Iran with massive bombs. Is the prophets of Robert Gabriel Mugabe came true in our lifetime? And what we can do as Africans to resist the Goliath, biblical Goliath. What can we do? Do we have David, biblical David? Yes, God has given us Ibrahim, but we need David. Do we have David? And what we can do to survive in this world where giants like biblical Goliath are here? What can we do? I'm sharing this video for we Africans to understand that we have no shortage of good leaders. We have no shortage of leaders who are resisting. But the problem that we have, these leaders are not supported. Just imagine if Mugabe was supported. I saw many speeches and the power of speeches. And of course, there was an iconic speech delivered by Mugabe at the African Union General Assembly in Addis Ababa. That was an iconic speech. But what next after that speech? Nothing. Nothing. But we end up by clapping hands. When we receive warning, we end up by clapping hands. But that was a warning. Maybe we didn't see Trump coming, but Mugabe sees it. As Africans, at this time of economic war, what can we do? How can we move out to face Goliath? Already it is Goliath. So how can we move out to face Goliath? It needs our unity. You know, Africa, we don't need to fight anyone. The only thing we need is only unity. And I've been saying this, not only me, many Africans have been calling African leaders to see how they can unite, how they can come together. You know why it is difficult for Africans to unite? If you ask yourself a question, some may say leaders, they want 21 gun salute, they have egos. Some said selfishness. Some said maybe leaders, they want to be called presidents. But let me ask you, compare a president of Djibouti and the president of the United States of America. There's a ratio there? No. But if we have a president of Africa and president of US, those presidents can have the same weight and you can balance. When we go to negotiate, we are going as a bloc, as a continent, as a giant. But right now, we negotiate as individual countries, small countries. That's why it is very easy to be defeated. It will be difficult for Africa to unite because Africa is divided ideologically, spiritually. I've been asking myself one time why the Chinese decided to build the headquarters of African Union for free. Chinese know very well that US is the main sponsor of African Union. Understand very well that France is a main sponsor of African Union. So how can China benefit or control and understand what is going on in the African Union? Chinese decided to build the headquarters of African Union. They installed all systems. And how sure are we as Africans that those systems are not taking information to China? So what we are discussing, Xi Jinping is listening. How sure are we that Xi Jinping is not getting what we are discussing? That is the power of control. So people, if they control stories, narratives, and information, it means they control your minds. That's what Chinese did. So while we are divided by Europeans, by Americans, also Chinese understand how they can engage with us. And that's why it is difficult for Africa to unite. And we cannot face the biblical Goliath if we are divided. If we are divided. So what we need, brothers and sisters, is to come together. These powerful words are reminding us there is a need for Africans to come together. There's a need for Black people to come together, to unite. So family, let us not speak for too long. The aim of this video is to share those prophetic words from the late former president of Zimbabwe, Gabriel Robert Mugabe, the way he shocked the world with prophetic words. We didn't see this coming, but today we witnessed. So family, have a nice time. Thank you.
Thank you, Africa, Mama Africa. Oh, yeah. You make African great. Thank you, Africa. Thank you, Africa.